excited to introduce this guest. This guy is a touring and recording drummer. He's the founding member of the band Arlington and has also been on tour with Meg and Dia. But not only does he kill it on that side of the music realm, he's also killing it on your For You page with over 65,000 followers on TikTok and racking up millions of views to drumming along to music duets, viral mashups, and serving generic indie boy content and just wholesome fun. Please welcome OMF Grant and Grant Whitson. Hello.
Hey, I'm here. We did it.
What's up? You made it to the big leagues. This is what this is.
Hey, I'm stoked. I'm stoked to be on anything. So, if anyone wants to give me their time like this, I'm stoked. So, of course, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you. What was the last thing you listened to?
Well, I've been learning some. This is going to be the boring answer. I'm learning some songs for a show I have coming up. So I've been listening to the Spotify playlist of the set list. It's an artist named Mickey Ratsula. They're great. And so I've been listening to that a lot because I'm making sure I learn the parts so I don't show up to the first rehearsal and have them go, okay, well, we don't need you anymore. So
you're telling me you just don't show up and just play the drums? It doesn't happen like that?
Yeah, no, I don't just make it up when I get there. Believe it or not.
Fuck, okay.
It might sound like that when I show up, but I do prepare, believe it or not.
Is this the first show you're playing back?
Yeah, the last show I played was in February 2020. And this is the first one back after all that time. So I'm excited, a little nervous. I haven't been in a room with like that many people in a long time. So I'll probably be a little on edge, but it'll be fun.
Yeah, the whole like music scene coming back has been like such a weird thing. And I've been to a couple shows and I've had a panic attack at one and not others. And it's just, a lot of fun. It's just like, it's great.
Keeps things spicy, right?
Yeah, and I live outside of DC, so most of the venues I'm at do require masks and like obviously like a COVID vaccine or a negative test, which is great. But I ended up at a show in Nashville, and that was.
I was gonna say that's gonna be probably a little different for sure.
It was just a little different. It was
just a little bit. We'll just leave it at that.
Just a little bit.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So we'll start with like the music side of things, and then we'll hit up TikTok in the end. How did you get into music in the first place?
If you want to start from the very, very beginning, so like when I was 13, well, let me rephrase that. I should start earlier. So I guess whatever age you're in fourth grade, that was when I was in fourth grade. So it'd have been like 2004 for me, I think. American Idiot had just come out, and that was all over the radio. And I think just that's like an age where you start paying more attention to music. I think just naturally, and I was always drumming on my desk. Along to that album, it was the first album I bought. Remember buying at least, and basically drove my parents crazy, just tapping on my desk to everything, just like, because it doesn't sound like drums, it just sounds like tapping on your desk. And that went on for many years of me listening to other music and just tapping on my desk to the point that they're like, hey, maybe we should get him a drum set. And now here we are. That was when I was 13. I got the drum set, and that's the SparkNotes version.
So I tell people I started listening to music in like third grade, and they're baffled by that. So I'm glad I'm not the only one who really started young.
Third and fourth is like pretty normal.
Right. People are like, no, I didn't really listen to music till middle school. I'm like, that's unreal. Like you were listening, you weren't actively listening.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like go like hunting for music like till I was like 7th or 8th really trying to find like more obscure artists, but like still I was definitely like looking up music and remember music a lot from that fourth grade age. So that's funny that they would say that they didn't. I think they're lying.
I know. Yeah, they probably are. They actually were the ones just like piling through like record shops, like looking for the good stuff. They just don't want to admit it.
Exactly. There you go.
So with like your music taste specifically, like did you have any like parental influence on that or like sibling influence, or did that just kind of come from whatever you ended up with?
I guess like eventually there was like artists that my parents liked that I grew to like, but at that age I was like all in on Green Day for like the longest time. Then I think when I finally got on MySpace, I came across like Blink-182, and then I realized I was like, oh, I remember like all the small things from when I was like really little. I've heard this song before. But at the time, both my parents were like, no, Green Day is just a bunch of punks, like this and that. Or, Blink-182, they say all these like really foul, disgusting things on stage. But now like we've all gone to see Blink-182 as a family like several times. So they eventually came around to it. So at that early age, not so much parental influence, but eventually got turned on to some of their music too.
And you influenced the parents at that point.
Yeah, so
Which is
getting
sick.
started on the influencer days early.
Yeah, really.
Pretty much.
My dad was like big like Led Zeppelin guy, and I really should have like paid attention to that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But instead I was like, my older brother was very big into Fall Out Boy, so I like found from under a cork tree in his room, stole it. And then it was like all downhill from there. It was like I was always like emo as hell, and then
Mm-hmm.
before that I was like, my parents were big country people too, so it was like
Right.
I was like all yeehaw, and then boom, emo. It was great.
There you go.
I was like the emo, country emo, the y'alternative.
Yeah, y'alternative. I was gonna say that's the
Yeah.
new TikTok term for that, I think.
Yeah.
I love
So,
that.
at what point did you like kind of decide to take music at least seriously? I know I looked all over your website. You studied business administration in college.
Yeah. You did
So
your
what was
research,
the
so I
move for
appreciate that.
that?
So,
Yeah, no problem.
say your question one more time, just so I make sure they answer the right one. 'Cause I wanna go
Yeah,
on a
just like
tangent.
when did you decide to take music seriously, and like how your degree plays into that? I know that's a terrible question, but
No, that's not a terrible question. So, it's like, so I guess like if you're talking about like when did I start considering myself like professional, it was probably even before I actually was like drumming or anything. Some
Mhm.
friends, so the guys from Arlington were in a band prior to that, and their band was called False Puppet, and they did Warped Tour in 2015 for like the last 2 weeks of it. So I went with them because it's Warped Tour, and I was helping like sling merch,
Yeah.
helping just like organize. Like it was like a team effort, right? So like that was my first touring experience. So I guess that was my first time being like, okay, like professional music stuff is within my reach, because that was like Warped Tour is like a tour we all grew up going to. So just being on the other side of it in any capacity was like an honor. I thought it was like the biggest. It's still one of the coolest things I was able to ever do. So I think at that point, even
Yeah.
though I wasn't touring as like a musician myself yet, I was like, okay, like professional music stuff was like within my reach now too, because obviously they did the tour and I was gonna help them out any way I could. So that was probably the first time I really was like, okay, yeah, this could be something I could do. But
Heck
with
yeah.
that said, that was when I was also starting, or like in between freshman and sophomore year of college. So I guess with the degree thing, again, with the degree, I was like, well, okay, so like professional music, that's possible. However, I'm not the one touring yet, so I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I should go to college
Yeah.
and continue my college experience and get a degree. And the timing ended up working out great, because then when Arlington started like pretty early on in my senior year of college, and then we got noticed by a label really quick, so then we signed, and then so instead of being like, okay, well, I'm gonna go do like a 9 to 5 job that I got with my degree, it was like, okay, well, now we have this album to record and we're gonna tour on it. And we signed like right before I graduated, so that was exciting. So again, it was just another point of like, okay, glad I got my degree because I have it in case this whole band thing doesn't work out. But let's go give it a shot. So
Heck yeah.
yeah.
And you do a lot of things. How would you describe yourself to somebody who has no idea who you are or what you do?
So in short, so here's what usually people ask like, oh, what do you do? I'm like, okay, well, I'm a session drummer. So like I can record, but typically I prefer playing live, obviously. So I say like touring, recording drummer, because some people when they hear session drummer, they're like, what? Like, what do you mean session? So I usually just say like, yeah, I'm a touring, recording drummer, and I kind of focus on the music. And then usually if I'm in a conversation with someone like that, either like a friend is with me and they're like, also he has like X amount of followers on TikTok. But even still, like I haven't quite considered myself a TikToker ever. I'm just like a guy that makes some jokes on TikTok that people seem to enjoy.
Yeah.
But I still feel weird being like, yeah, I'm a TikToker, because I'm not that, like, that's not my priority so much. It's just more like a tool to me that I can use to like reach more people, I guess. But it's not like my main thing. So again, love TikTok,
Heck
but I
yeah.
still would feel like calling myself a TikToker wouldn't be accurate, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that answers
Yeah.
your
No,
question. I kind of got on a tangent.
No, it does. It for sure does. And I think it's interesting because we've talked to a few bands that have done like the TikTok thing, and we'll get into it in a little bit. But
Yeah.
like the weird gap between like being a TikToker or just being somebody on TikTok is very interesting to me. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, you're gonna hear my dogs for a second.
That's fine.
It's great. It's fine.
I love dogs, so they're cool
We
with
just
that.
bring them in.
Yeah, why not?
Um, but I just think it's really fascinating, and like anybody can literally, I don't need to like fucking explain TikTok, but anybody can go viral. Like I've had like one or two that have like fucking blasted, and it
Yeah,
makes no sense to me. Um, and
that's how I felt.
and I think you've commented on one, and not to flex.
Oh, nice.
It
Which
was a
one was
funny
it? I'm trying to
one.
remember. I'm on TikTok
I
all the
had
time, so
people.
I see a lot.
I had people on Bumble send me their Blink 182 impressions. That was my
That was
dating profile
you.
opener. It was
That
me
was an amazing
in the
one.
flesh.
Amazing.
Thank you,
See, and
thank you.
that's another thing about TikTok. It's such a small. It makes the internet feel so much smaller than it already is. Like
For sure.
not that the internet is small. Obviously, the internet's a big place, but uh, yeah, that's crazy because there's been people like I just did a video with this music store in Santa Clarita, and when I got there, I realized, oh, I've seen some of your guys' videos because I recognized where it was.
Oh yeah.
So it's just like, again, it was just like kind of thing, mind blown. Sorry, I realize I keep doing like hand motions and I forget that it's an audio thing that they're going to be listening to.
No,
So it's
there's
like,
a video version. You're good. You're
okay,
good.
perfect. Because I don't want to be
The
like, so I went
the
like this, and then everyone that's listening is just like, went like what?
yeah. I mean, we might as well get into this conversation while we're on it.
Why not? Yeah.
That TikTok you did for that music store was hilarious.
Thank you.
I couldn't have done it better myself. I could have done 10 times worse. It was straight, literally out of a Disney Channel TV show, which was incredible. And I'm assuming that was your real mom.
That
Who
is my
made
real
an
mom.
appearance.
Yes.
Cool.
I don't have any kind
Was
of.
she?
I don't have any. That's the thing. A TikToker would have a budget to hire someone that wasn't their mom to play their mom. I'm not that guy.
It's not a paid actor. You're telling me?
Nope.
Wow. I just broke the wall. So there's not another person whose TikToks get sent to me more than yours, which is hilarious.
That's funny.
All of my friends send me your TikToks, and especially when you were doing the generic indie boy thing, I felt so
Yeah.
attacked because everybody was like,
I'm sorry.
"Here you go. No, it's okay. It's fine. It was hilarious. It was for the bit. It was okay." But you come up with this content that obviously like hits a section of people just in the right way, and like obviously it's close to home for you. So I can't even like ask like where the inspiration comes from, but like how did you like first of all get into making TikToks?
So I think it's probably what kind of. I think if you ask probably most people on TikTok, it'll probably be the same answer. At least what I'm guessing. I think it's the same experience for most. So the way that TikTok, obviously, you know how it is. If someone send it to you and you don't have the app, it obviously just opens in a Safari or Chrome tab.
Yeah.
But it never opens in the same one. So like I'll open them and then I'll forget to close them. So after a while, I was like, I have 20 different TikToks open in Chrome right now, just because I kept forgetting to close them. So I was like, I'll download the app so at least it just opens in the app. And it's a little so it's like an organizational thing why I downloaded it first.
Yeah.
And then of course it's like a gateway, right? So once you're in there, you're like, okay, start scrolling. Oh, this is like a lot of funny stuff. Then you start sending stuff to people, and then you'll see one, and you're like, oh, like wait, that's like kind of funny, but I could do that and make it better somehow, or like I could do my own twist on whatever this trend is or whatever. And then before you know it, you're posting, and then eventually you post enough. Eventually, one like sticks with people and makes the rounds, and then before you know it, you have like 2 million views on a video, and you're like, wait, what? So. That's the gist of it.
And
sorry, I think I got on a tangent again. What was your question? Was it just how did I get on there?
No, you got it. You hit.
Okay.
You hit.
Sorry,
you
I
hit the
keep like
question,
starting to like talk a lot, and I'm like, wait, what was the question?
No, please do. I've had people that have like just like been like, yes, this is the answer.
Just, or like one word answers.
Like,
like, so how do you get on there? It's like I downloaded
cool.
it. Yeah.
I posted a video. That's it.
Right
so I
on.
appreciate. Please rant as much as you want.
Okay, we'll do.
And you obviously already said that you don't really see it as kind of like your main priority at the moment.
Right.
But would you ever in the future? Because obviously, like you have a ton of followers and you're getting
rule it out.
some sorts of brand deals.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. But the thing is, like, in order for it to be like a lucrative, like, let's say, like for example, a lucrative source of income, I would need significantly more followers and more consistent views, just based on how the creator fund works, and then brand deals are a whole other thing because like a lot of brands are like really trying to like undercut on like people that have like a lot of influencer marketing. They'll try to undercut like to no end. I'm not going to name any names.
Yeah.
But there you'll hear about it on TikTok because other people will name names. I don't have the
Drop
time
it.
to
Drop
get
the
into
heat.
all of
Drop the
that and
tea.
get into any tea or anything like that. But yeah. So in order for it to ever be like anything super lucrative, it would have to be like it'd have to be less of like a choice. It would have to be more like I fell into it, where it was like all of a sudden I had
Yeah.
like millions and millions of followers and always getting gazillions of views. For it to ever be like, okay, well maybe I should just stick with this then.
Yeah.
But still, for right now, it's been better for me to use like again to reach people, but not necessarily just reach people for the sake of like them watching it and like bumping up my views and like for any kind of royalties or anything like that. But also, it's been really good for me connecting with other musicians that I wouldn't have crossed paths with ever, who will eventually, fingers crossed, need a drummer when they start playing shows, and I'm like, hey, you know me, exactly like that kind of thing. So in a way, I guess it is a
Yeah.
lucrative tool, but it's still not the only thing. Like it's not the end, the be all end all.
Yeah, and when it comes to your career in music and TikTok, you've kind of already touched on it, but what other you've been able to reach other artists? Have you got any like significant like kind of moves from that, and how has that been kind of reacting to that? Is like because obviously TikTok came out of nowhere, and like for us who are on Vine, like Vine was never monetized in any shape, way, shape, or form as it was like Vine
Right.
or TikTok is. So kind of as a career aspect on the music side, like how did you react to the things that you have done since then?
So I guess the best thing about TikTok for me, and like the main thing that I could like really talk about or like point out, and like because obviously there's things that like I'll like realize later. I'm like, oh well, that really only happened because of like this particular thing that started with TikTok or whatever. The main
Mm-hmm.
thing is like it's helped me network with a lot of people. So like certain musicians that I'm trying to think of like it's just in general. There's like musicians that I've like become mutuals with on there, and then like we'll have like an acquainted relationship. I'm not like besties with like a ton of people, but then there's also people that like are like if we're talking about like in terms of like I wouldn't say career status, but maybe I've been like more involved or like a more of a recognizable name to people, for example, like know of my existence or have like interacted with me here and there, and like that in itself is like something that I think is like really important for TikTok for me is just like becoming a familiar face for the right people so that
Yeah.
again when they're going to need a drummer for recording or touring or whatever that they go and they're just like, hey, we know this Grant guy and we know his personality because it's all over his videos. So obviously he'd be easy to work with. We should reach out to him and stuff like that. So that's like the main thing I could really point out. And obviously there's other things that have happened. I did a music video for this artist named Zach Hood. That was like so half like a connection with uh, management stuff, but it was like also like TikTok related because then when I showed up, like some of them were like, "Oh yeah, like you're from like such and such from TikTok, like this and that." So it's like it still is. Where am I going with this? I'm losing my train of thought. Just another example of networking, I guess.
So you mentioned management. Are you under management right now, or are you doing it all solely by yourself?
So I'm like, so when I say management, it's like so the connection there was Meg and Dia are on the same management as this artist Zach Hood. So
Gotcha.
what happened was Zach Hood's main manager was like, "Hey, we need a drummer," because like they have like a couple different managers within this team.
Hmm.
And was like, "Hey, we need a drummer for this music video. Do any of you guys have someone you could recommend?" And Megan Dia's manager was like, "Yeah, this guy Grant that knows with Megan Dia would be perfect. I'll put you guys in touch." So that was that. So like personally, I'm not like I don't have like a manager. I'm like reporting to anything. It's just me being dumb on the internet. But uh, yeah. So to answer your question, in short, no, I don't have a manager.
A great short answer. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Sometimes you
Um,
probably just need a short answer from me. I'm sorry.
no, it's interesting because a lot of bands especially are not under management. So I was just curious if you were as a session drummer,
Yeah.
if
No.
you required that or anything. If you could just like play all the books yourself, that's great,
Right. Yeah.
impressive.
Definitely. Thank you.
um, and I'm kind of curious of kind of your outside looking in on the music industry and TikTok. We had the band Valley on, and they had their song like 1999 pop off, and then their momentum continued and continued. They're killing it. I've been listening to their latest AP on repeat at the moment.
Sweet.
But it's really fascinating because not everybody has that same growth. So I'm curious of your thoughts on how bands are using TikTok as music discovery these days, rather than other forms.
So I guess like not like I guess I'll start with like there's a TikTok that I saw recently, like last night, that pointed this out. But it's something I've been thinking about a lot. Is you'll get a lot of the thing about TikTok is I think a lot of people think they can just go on there and be like, hey, like here's my song, listen to it, and then that's it, right? Like they don't really have to do any like creative sketches or bits
Mm-hmm.
or try to do any dances to their song. They just think they can get on there and be like, hey, you're listening to my song. It's right here. If enough of you streamed it, you'll make my dreams come true, right? Like we see that TikTok
Every day.
all the time with a gazillion
Yeah.
artists, right? Like it's become a meme at a point because so many people have also made parodies of it. They're like, well, if you
Right.
don't stream my song, like Lil Nas X did one like as a joke about his album. It was like my manager said that this and that, like, which again, it's like, where's I going with that? I think a big mistake a lot of artists make is that they think they can almost like it's kind of guilt tripping people into listening to their music, but yeah, I guess it is kind of like a lot of them will try to like say it's like if you don't listen to my song, then this, and it's like well, you didn't give anyone a reason to listen to your song, like,
Right.
and half the time on TikTok, people aren't on there like. Here's the reality: people aren't on there to like find music. If they find a song they like, that's cool. But no one's opening TikTok because they. I shouldn't say no one. Most people aren't opening TikTok because they want to find music. They're opening TikTok because it's another entertaining app for them. So they watch funny videos and stuff like that. And then again, if they hear a funny like a song they like, they make note of that. I think what people need to focus more on is like there's a band called the Jacks. I think they're really great on
Yeah.
TikTok with this stuff. They do all these funny skits. And they incorporate the music in clever ways. It's not just like again the like you scroll because as soon as I see that, it just feels like an ad, right? No one on
Yes.
TikTok
Yeah.
wants to see like things that feel like an ad. Like it's literally listed on TikTok's like ad thing when like for advertisers like don't make ads, make TikToks. So I guess again I'm getting on another tangent. I'm sorry. The one thing I do notice like on an outside looking in, and I guess could also be seen as like inside looking with inside still, is just that again like people need to like if they're trying to promote their music, don't there needs to be a reason for them to really go listen to it, or b just put it in the background of like something funny you saw, because again like if they hear it that's great, but as soon as like it's like you asking them or like begging them, like puts a people scroll right away. So
Yeah.
that's the
And
that's the short answer, I guess.
you make a really great point of like everybody is on there being like, this is my song, this is my dream, stream it, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
it's
like
like
that's
it's you exactly. It's like you and so many other people have the same dream, so
yeah,
you can't guilt me into it. Like especially me,
we
like
get
watching
it.
this. Like I'm a
Yeah.
musician. I'm pursuing what I can. Like I'm in the same boat, so it's like okay, you and me both. Scroll like
I need you to do a parody of that now. I'm gonna request that.
yeah, I
Wait,
haven't done
can I
one like
request
because I didn't do one. I've seen a couple parodies. I feel like if I can figure out a way to do it, but I feel like most of the parody ones have like already been spot on to the point, like and too like
Yeah.
there's no way I could outdo it or like I we'll see, but I would be down.
You
But
need to do,
there was a
like-
time where I was like, oh maybe I'll do this, but then I was like, if I'm ever like releasing music, I don't want to like look like I'm ragging on other artists. But at the same time, it's just like that's not necessarily ragging on artists. It's just like
Yeah.
not a good strategy, I think. To
Yeah,
get people to hear your
just
music.
hit him with a Sarah McLachlan Arms of the
Yeah.
Angel, and you're playing drums like for $5 you can help a broke drummer.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of streaming songs. Um,
That's good. I like that.
now you have to make that. I'm gonna force you to make that.
I'll see what I can do.
So, in that regard, we are like as a population are just like overstimulated with music discovery these days. I mean, Spotify gives me 20 songs a week that are
Hmm.
new music discovery, or how often they do that. They give me daily mixes, they give me all of
Yeah.
these things. And I, as a music listener, especially like I'm like a very avid, like embarrassedly avid music listener, I want to listen to it all. I want to, like, as soon as I find a new song, I'm going to listen to that whole album, see what I
Yeah.
like the album, and then I'm going to listen to older albums. And then all of a sudden I have 30 albums to listen to in 5 minutes. That's dramatic, but you understand what I'm saying.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So in regards to TikTok, you already said kind of like it's overpopulated in that way. Do you think that the music industry is going to continue, and obviously this is just personal opinion, you could say, but do you think that the music industry is going to continue to pour onto TikTok, thinking that that's going to be the way that their songs, their artists are going to kind of pop off and go
Yeah,
viral?
I mean, I think so, and I don't think that. No, yeah. To answer your question in short, yes, absolutely. There will definitely be people still like starting that are definitely late to the party. I think, and like to use an idiom at least, as far as that goes. But it still works. People can still blow up on TikTok. It's definitely harder because there's more people to compete with there now. But that's the thing. It's like, again, if you're doing, especially with TikTok, the way that it works, if you're doing something unique enough and that resonates with like the right people, doesn't need to necessarily be a lot, just the right people. Because if they all engage with it, then since TikTok pushes it to more people with similar interests, then it's the snowball effect that everyone wants, right? So you need to.
Yeah.
That's like the main thing. It's like, even though it's like a much bigger platform than it was like a year ago and then 2 years ago for sure, it's still possible just with the nature of how TikTok is like centered around like the For You page being like, here's something that we think you'll be interested in based on what you interact with. So I still think there's possibility for growth, absolutely. It just might be a little harder just because of there's more people
Yeah.
on there, and now that ads do exist on there, it's like instead of every post being an organic post, it's like 1 in 10 is an ad, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
That's another thing, but even still, then you get into the whole idea of like, well, they're also advertising their music, so it's like, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah. Yeah, I keep getting it's probably just me and my fucking For You page, but I keep getting ads for jeans, and it's like this girl explaining these like really bright colors. I love these jeans so much. And I'm like, I'm tired of you saying you love these jeans.
That's so funny, and that's the kind where it says like sponsored, like with the little
Yeah. Yeah.
so on the like above the username, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so for whatever reason, I haven't gotten any of those yet. I don't know why. I still haven't gotten one.
God.
I have not gotten a single ad on my TikTok. And this also happened with my, I don't know if it's like my phone or something, but like for a long time when people were like finally getting Instagram ads, I didn't get any until like
Really?
months later, maybe even like a year later. I don't know what the deal was. But I also, for some reason on Instagram, can't do this one feature in stories for some reason still. Not the swipe up thing, but like one of those like selfie things where it like, if you take a picture of your face and it's like fades in, like I can't do that for some reason. So it's probably just, I don't know what
That's
the
a
deal
good
is.
trade though, to not get those stupid
no, totally.
ads.
I'm like, hey, yeah, totally. If I don't have to get like TikTok ads like that, that's great. So fingers crossed no one at TikTok listens to this today. Like, I want to have your show grow as much as possible, but hey, anyone listening from TikTok, you didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Do
no,
not
you
give me
turn your
ads.
phone off immediately. Like,
Yeah.
they're always listening.
Yeah, my phone's right here. I shouldn't have done that.
I kind of want to circle back to your experience, because you talked about your experience tour managing. How was that, number one? And then also, is that something you would look into doing full time? I know that music is kind of a passion, so it's like in the music industry, where else would you see yourself other than as like a drummer?
I wouldn't be opposed to tour managing, again, by any means, and especially with that one, that was everyone's first tour, so it was less like here's an individual hat for everyone to wear, like only Grant does tour management stuff.
Yeah.
Because Tyler in that band is also very like hands on with how things work, so typically he and I would go and like deal with stuff like that together, or so if we needed to like settle up with the venue that day, usually both of us would go just because we both just knew how to handle it and strength in numbers, I guess, right? So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to doing it, ever again, obviously. So like I'm not like, oh, I'm only gonna tour if I'm drumming. Like I'll happily go along and if the situation's right, like for whatever job it is. So yeah, to answer your question again, in short, totally would be down. Would I prefer to be playing drums? Absolutely, of course. Much more fun. I think I would be much better at it than some of the other jobs on tour. I wouldn't be a very good drum tech because that's a whole other thing. Tuning drums and everything like that is a nightmare. I hate doing it. So I would not want to be a drum tech because then I would have to tune drums every day, and that makes me want to bash my head in all the time. So
Yeah, it's a valid point. Valid
so
point.
that would be like the one thing I'd be like, nah, maybe not.
Don't care about the money. I think I'm good.
There's also just like there's so much pressure on like tech positions for that because it's like if anything goes wrong, like it's immediately on their shoulders. But like not that it's a
Yeah.
thankless job, but like when things go right, like they just expect it to go right. But anything like something minor might happen that throws everything else off, like all that rests
Yeah.
on you. So I'm just like I don't want to have to deal with all that either.
A good off that, yeah.
Yeah.
My day job is news, so I work in like media management for the good old news, and it's all of that. And I see
Yeah.
every day like our audio guy is just getting like beaten down.
Exactly.
Of like,
And it's
man,
usually
it doesn't sound right. Like,
and it'll
yeah.
be stuff like out of their control. It's just like, or it's just like whatever, you know, cable just didn't work right or
Yeah.
bad power connection. Like it can be so many things that were just like that just happen, but it always has to end up coming down on someone. So
Yeah.
unfortunately,
Exactly. It's the beauty of production, and I hate everything about it, but I love it. I love it. um, so for those who've not seen your big old TikToks about generic indie boy, could you explain it for those listening?
yeah, totally. Generic Indie Boy is a character idea, kind of more or less based on some memes I saw like in 2016, and then when I was on TikTok, someone referenced those memes, and I was like, oh, you know, actually those could like work in like a video format really well. Couldn't ever find the original creators of those memes because it's like once a meme gets made, it gets passed around to the point that almost impossible to trace back the original. But that was like the loose inspiration for it, and then which was just like the ones where it's like a picture of Vans with like the jeans cuffed, and then the like
Yeah.
thing was like, oh, what do you mean you've never heard of Mac DeMarco, or it's just something like that. So and I just like took that like one idea and then just like was like, okay, well let's use that as a springboard. What else would this person say and this and that.
Yeah.
And then so yeah, it just ended up being this little like character that I think everyone in their probably like their like once they turn I don't know like early 20s late teens kind of interact like comes across one of those guys at some point. And I think in short it's just like a guy that thinks what's the word these guys think they're the shit and they're not basically. And then they just it's like it's not I wouldn't say quite a superiority complex by any means, but
Well,
I don't know. Well, yeah, maybe. But I don't know. I've met plenty of people like that in real life, and just like I don't get it. Like, why would you ever act like this at all? It's not a good look. I don't get how any rational person could think this. But yeah, that's it in short. That's probably a really terrible explanation. Maybe you could explain it better, honestly.
hilarious is what it is.
Okay, thanks.
Attacked me is what it was. But I think it was genius. I think that it was great on your part to do. I'm sure that you saw a lot of engagement and increase after that, and then kind of
Yeah, that was
spiraled
like
into where we are today.
that's like the very first one of those is like I'll get that quoted at me sometimes. Like I went to a hang out with some friends for like the first time. Like we were like all like literally just celebrating like oh we all got our vaccines. Like everything's like cool, and it was like really early on before everything like started to like take another dive down. And we were all hanging out, and like I met someone there that was also on TikTok because they were like a mutual friend, and they're like, "Oh wait, yeah, I remember you. You're the one that's like, oh, but we can still bang though." And I'm like, "Yeah, that was my video." So I get that quoted at me every now and then, but like obviously I don't really go anywhere, like hardly ever. Like that was like I think I went off out like then and then like twice after that, but like then things started to get bad, so I was like, nope, going back home.
Right. I was gonna
So.
say, has anybody recognized you in public since then?
Yeah, no, I haven't even been out to be recognized. But again, it's like it's not that those like it's the other thing. It's like TikTok and everything like that. great. Definitely have like a following, but I'm definitely not at any level where I'd be like, it'd be pretty rare if I was ever out on the street and someone was like, "Are you OMF Grant from
The
TikTok?" Because like
paps are
it's just
after you.
what was that?
The
Oh,
paps
the
are
pop.
after you.
Yeah.
Just end up on Just Jared. Yeah.
Funny story. My friend used to work. Well, actually, my best friend used to work at Just Jared, so I am on their website, not for a paparazzi video, but a press release. So
That's
I am on
hilarious.
Just Jared.
That's hilarious. Period. Okay. And 95,000 is a lot. I
Well,
can't
no, I don't
fathom
want to
that many
understate.
people.
I don't want
Oh
to
no.
understate like that 90. Like obviously 95,000 is that's like 100,000 more than I ever thought I would have.
Yeah.
My point just being though was that like 95,000 in scope of like they're all from different areas of the world, so it's not like it'd be different if it was like 95,000 people specifically in one area.
Yeah.
So like I'm definitely not at any like level of like worrying about going out for like my privacy or anything like that. Like because
Oh yeah, of
yeah,
course. I
that's not
just
a
was like,
yeah no
that's
for
a
sure.
lot of people, and
No, it
like
totally is. Like
I, fa-
it's bizarre to me.
what is kind of like your emotional reaction to that, and like how far like your TikTok, not career but journey has
Yeah,
been?
journey's probably a good word.
Like,
Well, so like the way for again, this is gonna go with like how TikTok works. What I've noticed is like followers come in like you'll get like a couple followers here and there, but like when you get like a really like solid video, you'll have like leaps and bounds of followers. Like I only had like only 3,000. Sorry, I shouldn't say it like that. So I had 3,000 followers ish, and I posted that first Indie Boy video, and then in like a week I had 30,000. Which so like then I was like, that's crazy.
casual, yeah.
And I was like, that's like probably as big as it's ever gonna get. Then like people were asking for more of those like Indie Boy joke videos, and then other people were like doing their own version. So I was like, okay, well I guess I should keep doing this so people know who like started this, I guess. Um, and that was the thing. Most people actually were tagging me in their videos and like crediting me, which was unfortunately sort of rare on TikTok, which that's a whole other thing about
Yeah.
people stealing ideas on there. But so then like those videos that other people would make would blow up on their own, and then I was tagged in the comments, so people would go back and watch mine, and then they'd be like, oh, it started with this guy, so he's cool, like he's funny, and so like, and then got to like 60,000, then it like tapered off for a little bit, then some other video went like around crazy, and then now I'm at like 95, I think is what it is now. And yeah, so with that I'm like, okay, so like I've seen it grow, like it's like I'm aware, so it's like I've been able to like process it. It's not like I got
Yeah.
95,000 in one day. That would be a little like scary. So I had time to grow into it a little bit.
Maybe.
Not that 30,000 isn't a lot, but 30,000 versus 90,000, you know, 60,000 difference.
Yeah.
So with that said, I'm still able to engage with everyone pretty regularly. Like I recognize a lot of usernames or faces and stuff like that. So in short, I'll give you the short answer. Your question was, how do you react to that? I'm like, I think it's pretty cool.
A great answer.
Yeah.
The one you did that, again, I'm telling you, like no one else's TikToks gets on more than yours. The one of the Midwest emo of the guy screaming "fuck" of the couple doing the thing, and the other guy comes on the guitar and the drums. Hilarious. First of all,
thank you.
Just gotta big props for that one.
Me and those dudes to confirm. Yes, we are working on a full song because we had gotten a lot of comments. So originally I was like, I don't think we'll bother doing that. It's like too much work. But then enough people commented like, okay, well, like why not do a full thing? So we worked on a shindig for fun. We're just waiting on vocals to get tracked and everything, and then we'll send it to mixing and mastering, and then probably just put it on SoundCloud because like we're not gonna start a full new band artist page through like Submit Hub or DistroKid for that. So we'll probably toss it up on SoundCloud eventually when it's done. But it sounds cool. I'm stoked on it. It was fun. And that's another thing.
That's fucking sick.
That was the other thing you had mentioned earlier, and I was like, I'm forgetting something about like TikTok and like music connection. Was that we did that, and then enough people responded to it, and like give us a full thing. So we were like, okay, well let's just do something for fun. So like we didn't put like we were like, well originally we were like, oh we should do this and this. And we're like, let's just not put like too much thought into it. Let's just like do what feels right, like natural. And it was interesting because none of us live in the same place, so like we're talking through Instagram group message specifically for like notes and stuff, and then yeah, so we have all the instruments tracked, and then just getting vocals recorded, which is obviously the guy that screams in the video, and then
Oh, really?
we'll
Oh,
send it.
sick. I was gonna
Yeah, it's
ask you if
everyone
it
in
was
the
the same
video,
guy.
from the video
Wow.
doing it. So, and we will sample the original TikTok to keep it organic, legit. Um, sorry, that was another tangent. What was your original question?
No, I don't even think I asked one. I just was complimenting that TikTok, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
incredible that came from that.
Yeah, I was
So
stoked on
big
how
pro.
well that
What
one
the
went.
fuck? I didn't
I
expect that.
was
That I'm very excited for that.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm stoked. I was when I did that one, I didn't expect it to do as well because I was like, oh, they're gonna get the joke like before I even play the drums, so they'll just like scroll away. So I was surprised that one like did as well as it did. Because there's some I post, I'm like, this is gonna be it. Like this is like my best video ever, and then it gets like hardly any views. I'm like, and then there's some that I like don't expect, and then they were the ones that like do amazing. I'm like, oh, interesting. So you never know. Don't be. My
Yeah.
advice to anyone on TikTok, I guess, would be don't be too harsh of a critic because it typically seems to be the opposite videos that you would expect to blow up.
Do you have any non-professional, professional advice for bands trying to make it on TikTok?
I think I covered everything. Is just again, don't. I would say first, like, make sure you like understand the nature of the app. So like you get on there, like don't like make your profile and then post like that day, because like I've watched some of my like very first TikToks that I posted. They don't feel like someone who understands TikTok made them, um, or like understands like what works on the app and what doesn't. Not that they're necessarily
Yeah.
bad, but like I watch them and I'm like, oh, no wonder this didn't do well. Like it didn't do like such and such, or like I did too much of this. Like why would anyone care to watch the rest of that? Of course, it didn't do well. So I would say like there's power in waiting to like make your first couple of posts. Like you might be really excited to post something, but I would suggest to anyone like just starting TikTok trying to promote their music, like take your time and then figure out where you're gonna like what your thing's gonna be. Not that you need to be tied to one thing, but like definitely get familiar with like what kind of videos like are working on the app. That what do you get recommended, and then what are your friends sending you and stuff like that, and like really pay attention to that stuff.
For sure. And I think for me, like looking as like a avid music listener fan, whatever, I think genuity is like something that like
Yeah,
a
totally.
lot of people you can't sense from, and it's very obvious. And I don't think people
Hmm.
realize how obvious it really is.
Yeah,
And I like we talked about the ads, like it's so ingenuine. Like again, we get it. You want to be famous, you want to have your song do well, but like also
yeah,
like I think games we play, we've talked to, they had the song Deadbeat go viral.
right.
And like we had a whole conversation. It's like they're just genuinely like good dudes. They just want to hang. Like that's the sense of you get from their music, and it's also the sense you get from their TikTok. So I think like
Yeah,
that's I
exactly.
think that's why they're doing pretty well.
Totally. That's exactly what you want. You don't want it to feel like an ad. You want that. You want it to feel like, hey, we're like best buds, and that we care, kind of thing. So definitely.
Yeah. So I have a game that I play on this podcast. It's called Quick Pick. I make you quick pick a song with a specific scenario that I give you. I have picked two of three of mine, so forgive me that I already have mine. Just whatever song comes to your head at first. Feel free to take your time. Whatever. Explain how you feel. Okay.
Okay. So wait,
Um,
you're telling me a scenario, and I pick a song that
yeah.
like that the scenario reminds me of.
Represents, feels like what you'd want playing at that exact moment.
Okay. Think I got it.
Yeah. Okay. You're at a show. You're trying to approach somebody in the crowd, and you need a song to set the vibe. I'm thinking Mr. Brightside. You want a song that everybody's just jamming to, and
Yeah.
everybody's just already the vibe is good. So I'm
So
picking Mr. Brightside.
so I'm at a show, and I'm wanting this
Hmm.
song to be on so that everyone's like, yeah. So like, not that their guards down, but that they're more like, yeah, like you said, everyone's having a good time. Oh man, I'm always so bad with these because then it's like I forget every song that exists. I would say, I guess throwback to what I was mentioning earlier would be Blink-182, All the Small Things, because it's familiar, uh, and it's just it's hard. You can't be sad when that song's on.
Yeah. All right. So the second one is you are in an elevator. You're trapped. The person you're in the elevator with has the most annoying ringtone that could ever come to your brain. What song is it? This is no shade for me from Meg The Stallion, but I'm picking Savage. I've heard it too much. If I
Same, I've
heard
heard
that
that one a
over and
lot.
over again, I just slam my head against the wall.
Most annoying ringtone. Oh man, and now I'm forgetting. There's so many songs I know that I would be like, that's the most annoying song ever, but I'm totally blanking on what it would be now. What's something that what's like a song? That's the thing. I don't think of the songs that annoy me because they annoy me. Um,
Right.
so I'm like, why would I put
I've
myself
asked
through
this
that?
question before, and my other answer was Tayo Cruz Dynamite, if that helps.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. It would probably be one of those types of songs that were like any of those songs that like sound very timely rather than like timeless,
Yeah.
and just kind of
Ooh,
corny
that's a
like
good
that
way to put it.
probably. Um, there's songs that I hate, and I'm like, my mom will put them on. It's like I hate that song, like I can't stand it. And she's like that with music that I listen to too. But oh, I feel so bad that it takes so long to answer this.
The pressure's on. No, I'm kidding. It's
Uh,
literally fine.
oh, probably okay. This is gonna. So I don't know what the deal is like, but there's some Tame Impala songs I just do not like at all. Um, and it's not because I think the songwriting's bad, because there's some really good songwriting, and I've heard live versions of the songs that annoy me, and I'm like, this is really cool. Something about the frequency balance and a lot of Tame Impala's music reminds me of like lull you to sleep elevator music.
Fair. Fair.
So I guess it wouldn't necessarily be the ringtone; it would probably be what's playing in the elevator. But
Man.
I couldn't think. I guess I couldn't think of like a specific song. And there's definitely way worse. I'm gonna get off this call at some point, like when we're done, and be like, "Oh, like no, this song is the one that's the worst." But yeah, something about some of the Tame Impala stuff just really does not uh, uh, work for me. I don't know why.
You're telling me you wouldn't want to hear The Less I Know the Better on repeat and while you're stuck in an elevator?
Yeah, no, I mean that's the thing. That's a good song, but I don't like the way it sonically sounds for some reason on its own. So I never listened to it. But cool bass line for sure. No, that's the thing. Like I've heard
uh,
it. I've watched like live videos. I'm like, this song is sick. But like whenever I put on the studio version that's released, I'm just like, I don't know. It's just not for me.
there's bands I like to see live, but I don't like to listen to, which is a whole
Yeah,
other
I think that's the
conversation.
dealio
So
for me.
I feel that.
Yeah, I think that's just the main thing
So,
for me with them or him.
yeah. So, number three, the last one, you are on the way home from a date. It went terribly. You need to pick a song because you have the aux. You're driving them home. What song is playing? This is the one I didn't pick, so now I'm thinking on the fly, so bear with me.
I guess it's like, do I want them
um,
to? I guess my thought process for this one is like, so it's a bad date. Do I want them to like also be in a bad mood by the music, or am I trying to just like save it, or am I trying to just be like, you know what, whatever, like I'm fine, whatever, and just like moving on, enjoying good music.
yeah.
Uh,
I'm
I
gonna
guess
pick.
if I you go first.
I'm just gonna go "What Makes You Beautiful" by One Direction because I feel like it's funny enough to cut
Yeah.
the
you,
tension, but like also just like please leave me alone.
you know, actually, another thing about the last question, I love some One Direction songs, but like "Live While We're Young" just I hate that song. I don't know why. And then
No
"What Makes You
comment.
Beautiful"
Yeah.
got on my nerves, and there's one other that I really am just like, that is such a not good song. Like it's very like it was just like felt like phoned in. But then there's some One Direction songs that I'm banging all the time. So you know, potato potato, I guess. But I guess so. To answer the this question though, so it's a date that went bad, and I'm trying to figure out a mood to set. So I
Yep.
guess I get to pick the mood. I don't know. I'd probably put on, Old Reliable. Got the Night Say Five. I love all their music. I listen to them all
Yeah.
the time. The Strokes. So pretty much anything from their discography that's probably more of like from either band, like the more upbeat, just like fun, easygoing stuff. Like that's kind of to like you said, ease whatever is going on. I would go with probably either of those two.
1975 would be a really good crowd pleaser.
Yeah,
It'd be pretty good.
I agree.
So I have one final question. I normally
We're
ask
done
this
already?
to all
What
of
the
the
heck?
bands. I know. It's such a fun time. I wish did more quick picks, but it's so hard to come up with them. But final question. Musicians, artists, people in general have the ability to have a platform, make a platform, use a platform. For you personally, what is the mark that you want to make on the world with your platform?
See, this is where it gets heavy because I'm all
I
like I'm
know.
just on
I'm
TikTok.
sorry.
No, no, you're fine.
I lit the mood and then I dropped it.
No. It doesn't like bring it down by any means, but it's like again with that's the like the line I struggle with. Not struggle with. Like I know where I sit, but the TikToker versus like some guy on TikTok thing. Like it definitely
Hmm.
again 95,000 followers. That's amazing. That's a lot of people. Way more than I ever expected. Didn't expect anything. So, but even still, I'm like I don't. I just because when I'm on there, I'm not like, oh, I really need to like be making X amount of videos a day and this and that. Like I'm literally just like, I have an idea. I'll film this and post it soon. So it still doesn't feel like a career thing for me yet. So even though there is
Yeah.
like obviously an audience there, it still doesn't feel like a platform, right? Because I don't feel like I'm above like people on a platform or anything. Like I just feel like
Yeah.
I'm one of them, and it just happens that a lot of them happen to follow me, right? So say your question one more time. Sorry, I'm off topic again.
Kind of to rephrase it with what you just said, kind of in a different light, with your content, what is the main goal with your content that you create? That could be musically or on TikTok.
I just want to be, I guess in short, I just want to be someone that people can, if they're having a great day and they just want to make like continue their great day with just something funny or enjoyable, that they click over to me and watch that stuff. Or if they're having a bad day, need their spirits lifted, I'm the guy that's like the escapism kind of thing. They just can go there, enjoy it themselves, like put themselves in a better mood. That's like the main thing. I'm not like I guess that's another thing with the whole like idea of like TikToker versus some guy on TikTok. Like I'm not chasing like numbers or anything like that. I'm just like every now and then I'm like, oh, this would be like a funny video, and I post it. I'm not like, oh well, last video didn't do so well, so I really need to make this one count. I'm just like, okay, like people didn't seem to enjoy that one as much. No biggie. On to the next one. Um, so so yeah, I guess the main thing would just be like, if I just want people to be able to enjoy my stuff, and it can be something that they turn to for whatever they need, I guess.
Heck
In
yeah, and
short,
obviously that swings back to our conversation about genuity and, making
yeah,
content
totally,
that like people resonate with rather than just that are in their face. So,
yeah, totally, yeah.
well,
So
thank
I'd
you
say
so
that's
much
the
for sorry.
no, sorry,
I
I was
cut
just
you
gonna
off.
say, yeah, I think that's probably the main thing overall is just the gist.
Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off.
No, you're fine.
Well, Grant, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight. The Grant Winston,
Happens all the time. Don't worry.
oh, OMF Grant, Grant Whitson, thank you.
Of course. Thanks for having me.